I got this letter in the mail last week. It was addressed to someone else who must have lived in our house before the current landlady bought it. It says, "Cam, I had to mail you this letter under my cousin's name because I used up my 8 letters for the month. Feel me? Cam, this jail only let us mail 8 letters a month unless we pay for them ourselves. So get back at me soon, okay?"
Do you think that suburban people know how to be good neighbors in the city?
Yeah, this one's hard because it makes me wonder if I identify as a suburban person.
What is the archetypical suburban person?
To me?
Yeah.
Someone who's much more ignorant. Or someone who wants to move to a city and have it be exactly like where they are originally from. Or just have no interest in talking to people other than the people that they know. And then to me, I don't want to live like that, so I believe that I can be a good neighbor. I really like the idea of a neighborhood. It's sweet, and yeah, I want to grow a vegetable and bring it to my neighbor's house, you know.
Like, I've always had this thought in my mind that suburb equals whiteness, and for the most part, that has not been challenged. Well, I met my partner, who I'm currently living with now, at a concert in Brooklyn through a mutual friend. And we decided that we wanted to live together, so I moved in with her in Boston, Massachusetts, because she was attending a university at the time, and lived there for 2 years. And after that, we moved to Bucks County, Yardley, Pennsylvania, where is her hometown where she grew up, and I've been living there for 4 months.
I'm only familiarizing myself now with the behavior of the suburbanite. Their practices, their habits.
How they roam, how they mow their lawns.
Now I plan on moving to Philly. So when we finally found the place that we wanted to live in, that met like all of our criteria, we were playing around with the question of like if there's been any sort of like aggression. They did get broken into, and it was by like a young black guy, and it's weird because she explained it in a way where it was like it explained a lot. Like she was like, yeah, we know why we were chosen as a target because we're contributing to like gentrification, and this used to be like a predominantly black neighborhood, and now there's only like 2 black families that live in the area. But now there are bars on the windows, so we're a little bit more safer.
When I first moved to Philadelphia, my father told me to take care on the streets, to not walk at night when I didn't have to.
So my mom is from Queens and my dad is from Brooklyn. And they lived there until my sister was 3. And they moved to Yardley because my mom's best friend moved to Yardley for some reason. They were definitely under the spell of the American dream. You just look at that house in this area and you're like, oh my god, like, if a kid lives here, they'll have the best life. And then they send you to Catholic school and it's just like, how could anything go wrong?
Do you think that suburbs represent the American dream?
Ooh. So can we talk about what is the American dream? I need to like reestablish this in my head.
Yeah.
It's like you come to America, you work hard, you earn money, you can do what you want. And then, you know, from an immigrant standpoint, like looking at it from my parents who came to America seeking that American dream, in some ways it is. But I would say the reality of it is like a lot more complex than it is. But it would have been a lot harder for me and my brother and my sister to do what we wanted if we were still in Korea. So from my parents' perspective, yeah, I guess it was the American dream. I think I kind of lived this dual life of my life at school, which is like a predominantly like white population, and then my life outside of school, which is with my family and my church, which was a Korean church. So yeah, the reason why I'm more skeptical to say that the suburbs is the American dream is because of how hard it was for me personally in terms of as a minority in the suburb, in Fairless Hills, Levittown area. I was, I don't know, one of like 2 Asians in elementary school, one of 4 Asians in middle school, and 2 of them were adopted. I was bullied a lot and singled out for my Asianness. These boys, group of boys, would chase me around the playground, me and my one other Asian friend, singing this stupid ass songs, and they would do like the eye thing.
You scummy shitheads. Templetown is fucked. Like, there's just so many houses where it's just stupid college kids who are like, woohoo, we're free, we can get drunk all the time now. And then they like have crazy parties, destroy the house they live in, and it's totally not, it's like their world. It's their, yeah, I'm a DIY punk kid in North Philadelphia, and this is my house. And it's just like, no, dude, like, you're renting, you're gonna move next year. Like, the job I have is like community gardens, and like I'm trying to have a plot in a community garden. Like, it's not just like, this is my home.
The only time I've ever been a victim of a crime was about 3 blocks from my father's house. A man exposed himself to me as I walked home through the park. I thought of it as an isolated incident.
Yeah, could you talk more about some of the symbols from the suburbs that you used in your art?
Yeah, plastic is a huge one in the sense that it's a material that can be like extruded, pressed, flat, whatever. It can exist in so many different forms. It's very malleable, but it's also hard and rigid and like impacts the planet in this really, really hard way. That's easy to ignore because you can just throw it out or recycle it and it goes somewhere and you never have to think about it again. I think that kind of can sum up the bubble, or living in the bubble, or being white, being able to just fit in different spaces or be the mold that is those spaces. But it's still, it's fake. It's not glass. It's not, I don't know, it's plastic. It's just plastic. So.
I was expecting like a lot of people like asking me questions about like why I'm there, or like you know, like, because they're not used to seeing like a person of color just like walking around their neighborhood or whatever. So, and then I also expected like over friendliness, where they like did not know how to interact with me. So that came gradually. Like, it wasn't all at once. Like, you know, and I appreciated that.
I was so like innocent to like the bad things of life. Like I could just like imagine me and Jacob like walking an hour and like not really knowing where we're going in like the middle of like West Philly, like, and just being like, cool, we found it. And then being like, oh, we'll figure out how to get home drunk. Like, it was never like my mom would die if she knew that.
Remember the body bags?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, I think after the assembly, you were allowed to like go near the body bag and see.
Yeah,
like,
I remember this quote. The guy was like, "You guys, like, come up and touch this body bag because if you do drugs, the next time you'll touch it, you'll be dead."
how are you supposed to react to being told to feel afraid? Like it's backwards. It's completely backwards.
You know what was really fucked up in middle school? There was like a little more toned down than high school version, but they put up pictures of people from our area who died from drug overdose, and like one of the photos was like their little brother was in the assembly, and he like ran out of that assembly room. I was just like,
I had like 5 friends who were doing heroin in 9th grade, and I don't know how I naturally floated towards that, but it was that, or it was perks, or it was just anything really. I think because they like lived a more exciting life, so I was drawn towards that. Yeah, kids who still do that shit, and I'm not cool with it. Like, I don't want you to be doing that. Like, why do you have to do that? Like, you're around your friends. Like, you don't. Like, what, purpose does it serve? But they're on relatively good life paths, and they're my best friends, so it's like fine. Yeah, I'm like over like the idea that I don't know, like I can change the world. Like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure, like education reform, like, yeah, I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna be a teacher, I'm gonna talk to the higher ups, I'm gonna do what I can, but like also shit ain't gonna have like change until capitalism dies. So like there's just not a point to hurting yourself over that, or like being so anxious all the time over the current state of the world if you're not working towards getting rid of the government. Sorry, you shouldn't say that on tape.
I don't think I feel a particular obligation to make suburbs, the entity of suburbia, better. I think I'm trying to work on my personal interactions with people who are really like apathetic to a lot of the things that are happening currently in America, and then just getting them to like give a shit.
I think I feel similarly, like tackling apathy. Yeah, because I think like we've had a lot of conversations with my parents about stuff like this, and like even just the change that I think that they've noticed in me, and I'm used to them telling me that everything's gonna be okay and like you don't have to worry about it, when like I have to worry about it. Like it's part of my reality and everyone's reality. So
do you guys think it's important to know the history of places that you live?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't actually know the history of Bucks County very well.
Me neither. Yeah.
I would say it's less important than knowing the people in the, like, with where you live. It is, but like as long as you have an understanding of where you live, where like, oh, Girard College is there, like that was like a staple point for like the black community to go to college. Like that's cool to know. Like that's pretty important for where you live. And like Cecil be more like, oh, like who's that dude? Like that matters. Like this is like more of what you interact with. Like you don't have to like go research like everything, but it's like, do you know like what you're interacting with daily and the history behind that?
They want to know about the history of the house.
Hi.
So
Sorry.
I don't know too much about it, but it's if you go, the Courier Times.
Yeah.
Bucks County Courier Times
They covered has a coverage on it. They did a story on it.
Yeah.
Okay?
There's also
and then
a YouTube documentary.
There's a YouTube
with original footage.
And then they did that, the movie, Suburbicon,
Have you
based
seen
on
it?
this house.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, all of them, it's on the history of the house.
Yeah.
Daisy Myers vividly remembers the rocks through the windows, the taunts and name-calling and cross-burnings, and the day and night blaring of Old Black Joe that greeted her arrival as a member of First African American family in Levittown, PA 40 years ago. Again, this was in 97. Memories of nights, more than a week of them, in which a mob that was estimated from 200 to 1,000 people gathered along Deep Green Lane in the Dog Hollow section, screaming racial epithets, throwing Molotov cocktails, and yelling threats.
There was racial tensions. They were a lot of problems. I forget the movie. They just made it with George Clooney and all them. They actually mentioned Levittown.
With all of my schooling, 2 master's degrees, I would never have learned as much about human nature as I did then, and I wouldn't have met such fine people like Martin Luther King, Pearl Buck, and Jackie Robinson. All of them, and many others, wrote to Myers and her husband, William E. Myers, Jr., during their several-week ordeal in what had been an idyllic suburban and white community of 17,311 houses, the largest planned community in the world. A cross blazed in the blackness in the Wexler's yard. Another cross was burned outside a friendly Quaker's home. More threats came over to the Myers' telephone. His fire insurance was canceled. A druggist refused to deliver medicine because his driver was afraid.
Well, it's in the past. I mean, it happened and things. I mean, it was back in the days of racial tension and stuff. I mean, I put 20 years in the military, so I served with all kind of people and stuff, so it doesn't bother me.
I think it's pretty crazy that happens really close to me. But wasn't there like thousands of people on their lawn? Like, is that what it said? How many people?
I think, the story is of course crazy. And also we never learned about it. We learned about segregation in parts of, and like civil rights movement and stuff in parts of school, but
Grand scheme.
Yeah, but it always felt very separate from where we're from. So knowing that happens so close to where our school is made.
But nothing's really affected us that much.